Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday, April 9th, 2024 Select Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by cable access. We opened up this meeting. We're going to go into executive session, and then we'll come back out and restart again the normal meeting at 7 o'clock.
All right, with that, move to enter into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel regarding the contract for Fire Chief Michael Kelleher.
Second.
All right, we do have two board members that are Zooming in. Any further discussion? All those in favor, we'll do a roll call.
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes.
Mark, yes.
Is anyone
Do
online?
we have anybody up?
Not there.
Okay.
All right.
Seth isn't there? He was just there.
Seth is not on.
All right, we could still go into executive session with the three of us, though. And then,
I'll do that.
yeah.
So we'll be back
We'll
about 7.
Be back at 7. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We had a little technical difficulty. We're going to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Just checking to make sure. Seth, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Seth is coming in on Zoom, and Stephanie will not be joining us for this open session. Anybody here for citizens input?
Hello again.
Hi.
Randall, Lyons, 59 Carroll Drive. Before I start, just a quick follow-up. I did chat with Mark earlier today about the Recreation Board meeting last night. I was not there. I will first and foremost start off with that. However, I did hear it was a debacle. It was 3 hours long. There was yelling, there was threats, and there was also an attack of my personal character, which I didn't appreciate hearing. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know that for a fact. Sadly, those meetings are not recorded. So one suggestion I would have is to record those meetings in the future. So now I'm going to kick into kind of the main reason for me being here tonight.
Hold on just a second. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
I thought someone wanted to say something in back.
Yeah, no problem. I'll go down to that 3-minute time frame again, or do my best to. So as everybody is well aware, I'm a pain in the ass, and I've been that way for the last couple weeks. I'm going to continue to be that way. Over the last couple weeks, I've been called woke, a snowflake, an asswipe. Somebody told me that I don't ever say nice things. That was one of my favorite things. For those who know me especially, you'll appreciate that. I've been called a bully for asking a school committee candidate a question. A hard question, but I asked them a question, and I was called a bully for doing that. I was told I should go sit in a corner and cry. All of these things I don't really care about. At the end of the day, I've got feelings. I'm a strong supporter of empathy, and all I want to do is move this town forward. I support the schools. I support the schools. I support the schools. I support the students, and I want this town to move forward. I understand that the board of the Foxborough Recreation has to abide by a board handbook when they make their decisions. They can't decide based on their personal and political decisions. That's a requirement of their board. My point tonight is to talk to those sports associations, those boosters clubs, and other groups that aren't held to those standards. Those are the groups that I want to reach out to and recommend when they're making their decisions to use the retired logo, whether it be on a flyer, whether it be on uniforms that they haven't used the logo on before, to stop and think, how is this going to benefit the town? How is this going to benefit the students of Foxborough? How is this going to benefit the schools? They are ultimately slapping the schools in the face based on the decision that was made last year. And frankly, that decision was actually made 7 years ago. I commented on social media that it was 10 years ago. I stand corrected. The last uniforms with the retired logo were ordered 7 years ago. They are now at the last life cycle, to the best of my knowledge, for the final uniforms using the old logo. 7 years ago. This was not an overnight decision. Now, let's talk about the other school systems in Massachusetts. Over the previous this 25 years, again, not an overnight decision, over the last 25 years, 75% of school districts around the state have stopped using the Indigenous logo on their uniforms and within their school district. It's gone from over 90 to approximately 20 districts now. That includes Foxborough. It is down to 20. The decision was made by the school committee. There will be a new logo coming out this fall. It is time to move forward and support the schools, support the students, and move this town forward. We do not need to fight about this every year. There is no benefit to doing that. All I am asking is to support the schools, the students, the town, and move forward. Please, if you're an association, if you're a boosters club, think about that when you make those decisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randall.
Can I just ask one question, though, Mr. Lyons? The name calling that's not by anyone on this?
No, it's all on social media.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
Frankly, I don't care.
Okay, no, but
And
it
I've
wasn't
got
someone.
no problem being a pain in the ass, and I'm going to continue to be up until elections. And actually, that brings up my point. When I spoke to you earlier today, Mark, originally my complaint against the Foxborough Recreation Board was going to be on the May agenda, or was hopefully going to be on the May agenda. Based on last night and based on what's going on right now, I requested it be moved up to 2 weeks from tonight. I would like this addressed before the elections. I think it should be. I think the people in Foxborough need to know what's going on behind the scenes. You requested information. I'm happy to put forward the information that I've collected regarding this complaint. I will send it all to you by tomorrow, and it will be ready. But my request is that this gets put onto the agenda and addressed at the April 23rd meeting.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you. All right.
Mr. Dumas.
Oh, Laura, yeah, sorry.
Paul Dumas, 4 Adams Street. I had no intentions coming up here to speak, but one thing that was said, I was at that meeting for the entire meeting last night. I'm very familiar with meetings and things like that. There's nothing that I heard that was a threat. There was contention in terms of dialogue. I thought the chairman let everybody speak, and they could the chairman could have restricted it to the board only. But anybody you were there too, Doc, and so I didn't hear any threat. But there's no question that there's issues with the skate park, which I don't really know what the hell's going on there, but there was contentious dialogue, but I heard no threat from anybody on that issue. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish Randall was still here. All right. Anybody else from citizen input? Great. Thank you. Kraft Sports and Entertainment. We got a few people coming up.
All right, and while they're coming up, I'm going to make a motion to open the public hearing. And since this is, since we do have Seth Ferguson on Zoom, we will be doing roll call vote all evening as well. So the Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority pursuant to MGL Chapter 140, Section 181, Section 183A, Chapter 136, Section 4, Chapter 141 of the Acts of 2020, Code of the Town of Foxborough, Chapter 229, and also the Stadium Rules and Regulations, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, April 9th, beginning at 7:05 p.m. in the Gala Meeting Room, Town Hall, 40 South Street, to review the renewal application submitted by Kraft Sports and Entertainment, LLC, for the 2024 annual entertainment license. All listed events in the application are proposed for Gillette Stadium. Application for this event is on file at the town manager's office. All interested parties are welcome to attend.
All right. You're on.
All right, Jesse Enos with Gillette Stadium.
George Bell, 27 Shoreline Drive, Stadium Advisory Committee.
Rich Noonan, Foxborough Police Deputy Chief.
So jumping right into it, we have another busy event season on deck. We're 2 events shy of our 2023 season, but it's still going to be an exciting and challenging year for us. There are 2 changes that I just wanted to call out in the actual licensing document this year. They're not material changes, but there is some restructuring or some clarification in the language regarding the town curfew. So the timing, the fees, the structure, that has stayed entirely the same, but it's been better outlined in the document what precipitates an extension, and then the process for coming before the board after that. And then additionally, there's some modifications to language with respect to public safety's access to the stadium property. It actually broadens access and clears up some confusion. So those are the only two changes that you'll notice if you're going through the licensing document itself. We have a busy season. I can run through every event if you want, or I can just kind of highlight the newer ones that we haven't had before. Totally up to you, depending on how much time you want me to take up.
You guys want to?
I mean, I've reviewed them all.
Yeah, I've reviewed them all too. Give us a summary.
Sure. So we've got our full Revs season. We have in front of you as well as our concert season. The Revs will be exactly the same this year as it has been in previous years, with one outlier being the Messy match, the last weekend in April. That's the Inter-Miami match versus the Revs, and Inter-Miami picked up Messy, so that is going to be a completely sold out, full stadium soccer event. That event will follow the timing of a Patriots game versus the timing of a Revs match. So 2 hours for, 4 hours for lots, 2 hours for gates. It's already entirely sold out. It's an incredibly exciting match for the franchise, for the fans, to have a player of that caliber play on the Gillette Stadium pitch. We're really excited about it. We did go to Foxborough residents with resident rewards offer for that. After that event, we roll into our summer concert series. And on June 12th, we host Tom Brady's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So we've had induction ceremonies for years now. We typically host them right outside the pro shop in that general plaza area. This year, because it's Tom Brady, and we know the demand is incredibly high, we've moved that event into the stadium. The stadium itself will be set up like a standard South End Zone concert, so sort of that staging in the South End Zone, kills behind it, and then the standard sight lines. It is about a 2.5 hour run of show. It starts at 7 o'clock. It should be over by 10 o'clock the latest. And it's a lot of the traditional elements that you would expect to see in our Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and then a lot of really exciting surprises too for the fans. The ticket offer has already gone out to season ticket members. I believe they have until the end of this week to buy their actual tickets. Once that is done, and once we have reallocated and sort of reassigned people who are behind the stage who want to come, because you have the option to buy your actual tickets. Once we reload those people, then we're going to go to Foxborough residents. So anybody who is a registered member of the Resident Rewards Program is going to have access to those $36 tickets for this event. We're excited about that. We're proud to make sure that we have that offer up and running. And I mean, as far as just what we're seeing like in the Foxborough resident inbox that we man, hands down, that's the most inquiries we're getting from residents is, what the offer is going to look like and whether or not they'll have access, and we can assure people that they will. Moving on, we have,
Question?
Please stop me because I will go on.
No, we want you to go on as fast as you can. But take a breath every once in a while.
Sure, yeah.
Just review the resident, you have to...
Resident Rewards Program.
Yes, please, thank you.
So it is a database that we keep of Foxborough residents who verify their residency with us, and then our first event that we rolled it out with, or that residents had access to with this program, was Taylor Swift, which is great. Don't know how we pulled that off, but we did, which was awesome. Every resident who wanted to go to that show had the opportunity, once they were registered members of the Resident Rewards Program, to go in and buy tickets during pre-sale. If you are a Foxborough resident, you do need to go through the process of registering, which isn't too painful. If you go on GilletteStadium.com/partners in patriotism, there's a link there. You'll see to all of the different offerings we sort of have that are Foxborough specific. Resident Rewards is one of them. You can click on that. You have to fill out a brief questionnaire, just sort of verifying your residency, and then submit a photo of your driver's license as well as a piece of mail that verifies your residency. It's all done in person and by hand that we go through, make sure that the list trues up, and then you will be set up with, you need to have an email address, and then you're set up with a specialty Ticketmaster account. that can give you access to the resident rewards offerings. So if you're not already a member, you still have time. We typically try to cut it off a week before whatever offer sale happens, and we will most likely be going to residents the last week in April. So if you are not a resident, you can go online right now and be all set and have the opportunity to buy for the Tom Brady event.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. We have Zach Bryan this summer, which is different. Haven't had him before. Young, up-and-coming country artist. He's got a really stripped down set. He's just a performer with his band, very limited production. Interesting call out to that event is we have him in both June and July. The way his tour was routed, he actually has to come in and go again because his career and the demand for his tickets grew so significantly after his tour was originally routed. So he kind of is doing 2 legs, which is really unique. We have, then if we just keep going, Metallica, the first weekend of August, and that's a Friday and a Sunday, 2 totally separate shows, totally separate dates, completely different songs. They don't play the same song twice. And then the last week in August, we have 4 shows, Pink, and then 3 Kenny Chesney shows in a row. That's going to be a challenging week for everybody, especially obviously public safety. We have had 3 shows in a row, but we've never done 3 Kenny Chesney shows in a row, so it's something that has already been planned for and discussed in great detail with public safety, and we at the stadium obviously support whatever needs to be done in order to achieve the right levels of staffing and support for that event. And the final event you'll see in the packet is the Premier Lacrosse League quarterfinals. We're continuing our relationship with the PLL. They we're continuing with our commitment to grow the sport of lacrosse. It's a relatively small event, 6,000 to 7,000 people on September 2nd, and we look forward to continuing our relationship with them. I think I've covered everything sort of at a higher level. I'm happy to dive into, one more thing. So kind of just an interesting tidbit. This is our centennial summer, so we will hit our 100th concert at the stadium this summer. The Rolling Stones opened the building in 2002, and they will literally be our 100th show in the last week of May this year. So just like an incredible coincidence and something we're, again, proud of, excited for.
So as a Foxborough resident, I took advantage of the Rolling Stones tickets.
Good,
So-
perfect, that's what it's there for.
Any questions to Jess until we move on to George and public safety?
I have one. And I know that you called out some of the differences, and I feel like the one thing that I hear, and I don't always even know the answer, is the curfew question comes up a lot. So I know that we've spelled out a lot more about curfewing, when the Bulls vacated and parking lot times. Has the curfew time crept out at all over the last years? Or, so just so that everyone watching at home knows now, sporting events are no later than 11:40. Unless there's something that's beyond the control. And then live entertainments is no later than 11:30 on Friday and Saturday evenings, and evenings prior to a federal holiday, and 11:15 on evenings, with no new songs after that. Now, has that always been the curfew, or has that snuck out a little bit over, not snuck out, but just, I feel like that is a question that comes up, and has that been what it is, or has that changed in the last 5-10 years? I don't know the answer to that.
That hasn't changed, nope.
Okay.
I don't think it's...
Okay. Something that does come up, though, that people ask, especially with the sound.
Sure.
So no change to that. It is what it is.
It's 11:50, we say 11:15 on school nights, 11:30 on weekend evenings. So Friday, Saturday, I have 11:30, and every other is 11:15, and it's the start of the last song has to begin before that time.
Thank you.
But that's been the time, certainly as long as we've had this universal license in place, and as far back as I can remember
Okay.
before that too.
Thanks for clarifying that.
No problem.
I didn't know the answer.
Seth, you good so far? Okay, thank you. George, you want to...
Sure. Again, from a stadium advisory standpoint, we were really pleased to see in relation to how public safety, town officials, as well as Gillette worked out the event extension due to extreme weather, because it was an open-ended, from our perspective, when you get that many people in an event that have paid big money, and then the potential of, oh my God, we could be losing an hour and a half, who knows, depending on the timing. It was something that was important, and we're very proud of that. Just otherwise, I just wanted to take a minute to, as you acknowledge the success of the resident rewards thing, I want to thank the stadium. I know this is something that we talked about early on, and then it evolved into what it is, and I think it's a great thing to offer the townspeople that opportunity, and I think I appreciate that. And my last thing is just really a shout out to the public safety people you have sitting at this table tonight, as well as Chief Grace, who is not here. And when you think of what happened last year with the events, the Army-Navy game, probably the highest visibility of any event that you'll have, with a number of people with the potential for whatever. You have a group of people, and I want to say the cooperation and the input of the stadium as well as your security people. It's something to be proud of, and that you should be very proud of as a town, to know that this stadium is so well protected, and the progressive things that they've done up there in terms of, the policemen that come in, they're really there for just a night, but at the same time, as Jess said, you've got 4 events in a week, how you're going to have it be manned. And some of the statistics, there wasn't an injury up there by a police officer the whole year. There were, really 0 complaints to the police department and the public safety people. So, from my perspective, I say this personally as well as a same advisory member, it's something to be really proud of. When you get upwards of 70,000 people in a place, and to have the security such that is protected going in and everything, it's an acknowledgement really to this team. So I want to thank you for that. And then in the end, we had our meeting and, talked through and brought forward our comments, but that we're really, we recommend for approval based on the high level. I don't think the level has ever been higher in terms of cooperation, that I've been a member, and I've now probably 20, 25 years on this committee, but the cooperation level is the highest ever. If they say we need to have overtime because we've got 4 events, we need to give an incentive to get more, the police, you're there. And I just think it's something to be proud of. So that's all I have.
Great. Deputy Chief?
So we reviewed the permit, Chief Grace, the fire department, town council, and town manager. We support the changes to the license. I'll echo what George said. Our relationship, our working relationship, our lines of communication have never been stronger between the stadium management as well as Team Up Security. As highlighted by the Army-Navy game with all our federal, state, and local partners, we have a great program. And our goal is to provide professional police services at every event that Gillette's going to have, and I'm fairly certain that's what we're going to do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, same. Sorry, I was a few minutes late.
No worries.
I'm not sure how much they talked about. The one feature we added was the ability to extend the curfew due to weather specifically. Just in the last couple of years, especially, we've had some real issues with weather, and we're making those decisions whether to shelter people in place and delay a show or stop a show mid-show. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure, and time is of the essence when we're making those decisions. And the single largest pressure point is pushing up against the curfew, so that just looking at the license, looking at the process that we use, removing that barrier to help us make a faster and safer decision was something that we talked about it, we explored other options, but so typically we have a lightning storm, which would be our number one issue, and we have adopted policies around lightning. So if it's as close as 8 miles cloud to ground lightning, we would stop the show, put people into the concourses, shelter them in place, and then after the last lightning hit within that 8-mile radius, we would wait a half hour to start the show. So that's where we came up with that time. So it's obviously the board's license, the board's pleasure, but that was something we added just to kind of, again, streamline things and make public safety make those decisions a little faster, so we're not as compressed. So we don't have to worry about that
Awesome.
one barrier.
Take some of the stress off of.
We're trying.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess just to that point, from a noise standpoint, you're extending the curfew in this extraordinary event. With the addition of the big, I call it the wall, but the open end of the stadium, the only open end, is now closed. And it really has helped from a noise complaint standpoint. They're way down, in the single numbers for the whole concert season.
Yeah.
So I think that is it's helpful that, again, it'll be less of an impact.
Great, that's great. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Staff, you good? Okay.
Good, Doc, thanks.
Maybe move to,
All right, great. All right, anyone from the public?
yeah, good point. Anyone from the public?
Okay, so move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes?
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes?
Seth, yes.
Okay.
All
Great,
right.
awesome.
Great.
And
Thank
then
you so much.
motion, we got motion to approve the 2024 annual entertainment license for all Kraft Sports and Entertainment Group events at Gillette Stadium at 1 Patriot Place.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes?
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes?
Seth, yes.
Awesome.
Thank
Now
you.
we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
you.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Chief isn't going anywhere. You're up. Fire apparatus maintenance program.
So this will take 2 seconds. Just
You're done.
That was a softball, right?
I know, like 2 seconds?
So, as you're aware, we have a fire apparatus maintenance program that requires a intermunicipal agreement. They're expiring now. We have some other people coming on board. Other municipalities, they've given the town manager the authority to sign. So I would just request specifically the fire apparatus maintenance. You can vote as a board to give Paige the authority to sign those. Other towns have done this, and I checked with our town council, and he had said, with the vote of the board, you can give her permission to specifically sign those intermunicipal agreements. It just kind of cuts down on the bureaucracy, so she can sign that. It just speeds up the process of us renewing those and then bringing some.
Do you want to remind everybody just 2 seconds what this fire apparatus maintenance program is? Just
Yeah,
because it's
so-
really an innovative thing.
Yeah, so about it's actually over 3 years ago now, we started fixing other towns' fire apparatus. We were fortunate enough to have the resources in-house. We've kind of built the capacity to help towns out and actually fix their fire apparatus. It's turned into quite a little enterprise, so certainly something that's in demand. It's rare, especially post-COVID, having the skills and ability to work on fire apparatus, such a specialized, industry. So, we've really built that capacity locally, and it's really helped our neighbors tremendously, so.
But not only us, it's helped, not only them, but it's helped us.
Oh, it's helped us,
It
yeah.
pays for our repair, or what's the guy called?
A mechanic.
Yeah, that.
We're able to fund the mechanic salaries right out of that, and then we're able to fund other programs out of that. So it's kind of it's exciting. It's different, but
Yeah.
And I assume if we brought anyone new in, you'd let us know, like.
yeah, we could. We could give you we can send you an email, but the process is very. I'd be in here every week, and then
Yeah, yeah.
It could be just part of Paige's manager's update.
Yeah.
Just want to let you
Yeah,
guys
I
know
signed,
that
yeah.
I signed, X borough to our the contract.
sure.
And they're all pretty standardized. They always get reviewed by attorneys
Yeah,
prior to.
Pat Costello.
Yeah.
We've kind of streamlined it, and as innovative as it is for fire apparatus, it's not that innovative for school bus mechanics. So it's like my insurance. When we started researching it, it's pretty standard in the school industry. A lot of school districts share mechanics, so it really wasn't that big a lift, I think, to talk about the insurance. Most towns we work with have Maya and stuff. So
Awesome. Okay. Seth, any thoughts?
Sounds good, Doc. Thank you.
Okay.
And I
you're
assume
welcome.
we'll be voting next meeting then, or was this just, because we don't have a vote, I think we need a vote on it, but I don't think we're prepared to vote, so do we just have to do it as an action item, maybe next meeting?
You could make a
We
motion right
could just
now.
make a motion.
Okay.
A motion.
Make a motion to authorize the
Okay.
town
Town
manager.
All right, so move to authorize the town manager to execute
intermunicipal agreements.
intermunicipal agreements for fire apparatus maintenance program.
Yeah, sure.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes?
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes?
Seth, yes.
Yeah, might as well get it done.
All right, it's a little longer than 2 seconds, but
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, Class 2 auto license, review and vote.
I think we have our
So,
gentleman right
yeah,
here.
come on up. Just as a little bit of a background, Paige, as you mentioned to me, this is allowing a Class 2 license, but there will be no vehicles.
Correct. No repair, no vehicles, no whatnot.
Just an address.
And it's
Just
not
an
the first
address,
one that
it's
we've done.
all online. It's an online thing.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about you, a
First
little bit
name and-
about.
yeah.
My name is Saba. I live in 15 Twilight Drive. So I had the same license before in Foxborough in the same address, but we didn't renew it. We used it for a few years, and then we had a different interest. So,
So he may have been the one we did before.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it was a
Oh, it
different, I
was
was
a
gonna say, it
different
wasn't
one,
on
okay.
Twilight, yeah.
That was a long time ago, probably like 15 years
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
But anyway, it's an online thing. No customer will be at the premises, no cars, nothing, just an address, and that's it.
Any questions from the board?
No, just within the motion, you're not allowed to store any cars, so I'll just read that motion. So, motion to approve a new Class 2 auto license for A&S Auto Export at 15 Twilight Drive with conditions that no cars allowed on premises or any auto body repair work done on premises.
Yes.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
it
you.
was.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so signs. St. Albans Lodge at 12 Rockhill has a sign request.
Actually, we have to table this or cancel this because when we checked with Scott Shippey, the signs are not authorized within the right-of-way, so we had to let them know that they would not be allowed to do it. Even though we do acknowledge that there are rotary signs, and what's another one I saw, the Lyons or something up there. Scott's looking into that. I noticed that they happen to be tacked up on utility poles, so clearly not authorized. I don't think anybody asked, they just stuck them up. These people, of course, it's always tough when you follow the rules and ask, and unfortunately, we aren't able to authorize those signs under the current sign bylaw.
Okay. All right, so do we have to vote to table or just not bring it up?
No, I think we just
Okay.
table it. They are aware, they're not here.
Okay. All righty, wait a minute, non-union. I went too far down.
Non-managerial pay bin.
Now
Yeah.
you're on to me.
Yeah, FY '24, '25 managerial and non-union pay plan.
Yes. So this is a couple items up for bid on this discussion. On the first thing, what I was trying to do is clean up the non-union managerial plan. The first, this is not housekeeping, but this is actually warranted. So the first thing that the Personnel Wage Board has already approved is to elevate the grade of the executive assistant position. She was a 6, we're trying to move her to a 7, and that is to acknowledge that the restructuring I did in November of last year, where this position is now not only doing executive assistant, but is now handling the entire select board, where previously the communications specialist handled select board, also handling boards and committees, continuing to handle licensing. So there has been and you've all seen it, a tremendous sort of increase in responsibilities on the executive assistant. So I'm proposing to change the title to executive assistant / select board liaison to acknowledge the sort of two-prong, and then to move from 6 to 7 on the step chart, the grade chart. So that's item 1. I don't know if you want to do it one by one or what, but.
Yeah, let's do it
Keep
one by
going.
one. Yeah, no, let's do it one by
Okay.
one. Because, yeah. So any questions from the board on that?
No.
Seth? No?
All right, so good.
Yeah, and that requires a vote?
Yes.
Yep.
Each one? I just have one motion for the whole new people.
Okay, so why don't we do? Just
Okay.
keep going, yeah.
Okay,
So I know you made discussing each one individually.
Okay.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then this is a housekeeping one. I misspoke the first time. When you look at the grade 12 salaries on the chart, the percentage separation between grade 12, let's see how to explain it. Grade 12 salaries are very close to grade 11 salaries, and then there's a bigger gap between 12 and 13, I'm having trouble. So we tried to, and nobody's in that role right now, so it's not affecting anybody's salary, but we kind of wanted to make it middle of the road. We've noticed that sometimes, we don't know if people are going in haphazardly changing percentages, but we moved that to be more middle of the, to fall between 11 and 13 more equitably. And just so you know, for clarification, I do have the percentages on the table on the right side there. Those are more mine. I did remember that later. That would not be published, those sort of like percentages on the right side with no heading. That's just my math. So that in the official one that goes on the website, those two percentages on the right, very far right, would not be in there. That's just for our edification to show you the breakdown of percentages.
Okay.
Any questions on that one?
Any questions? Seth?
No, I mean, that one feels right, and I think it's the right time to do it when nobody is impacted by the rate change.
Absolutely
Exactly.
right, Seth.
And these went to the personnel board.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Okay, good. All right. So we'll take a motion.
Well, last one.
Oh,
Got
there's
one more.
three?
There's 3.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Nope, there's 3. So this one is focused on assisting the town and me. As you know, I've been in this role now since June of last year. And I will admit that this role for me so far has been somewhat reactive in that, you know, it's a very busy role. There's no assistant town manager. I hear loud and clear right now there isn't going to be an assistant town manager, but I am looking to see if the board will support me in finding a creative solution to our current situation, which is basically to get some additional operational support in the town manager's office. As you know, Bill Keegan, with all his experience, for the most part, he had an assistant at the time. And again, I'm not proposing an assistant town manager, but I am trying to find a way to improve engagement with citizens, to allow me to focus on the strategic, and we've talked about going into strategic planning, strategic goals. Those are the sort of how to engage with the citizens, how to have the back and forth, engagement, newsletters, various initiatives. We have World Cup, we have, you know, 5-year planning, we have goals, whatnot. I have to admit, those do tend to go to the back burner because I have to deal with all the day-to-day stuff. You know, the fires that are around Town Hall, those needs have to be met. I can't ignore them. So as a result, I am spending a little bit more time on being reactive and sort of dealing with the short-term things. So what I'm trying to find a solution is to see if I can work within the current organizational structure. And I don't have the answer yet, so I'm just floating this to you all. Like, I don't have the outright solution. But what I would commit to you is if I am able to find a way to do this without impacting the budget, like not a new position that would bring in a new employee, it would have to be something I do through a restructuring. It could assist me in special projects, maybe some daily-to-day operations, and allow me to work on this. The other bigger picture is the redundancy. You know, a year ago, this board saw what happened when the town manager was no longer available. We're in the same boat. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, you know, we're right back to that position. So, again, I know it's a sensitive thing. I'm very sensitive to the town and the fiscal situation. That's why I'm committing that if you allow me to create this position, I will be moving low and slow. That's the wording we're using, is just to figure this out. But I'm looking to find a way to pay for it that does not increase the town's bottom line. I'm not looking to add a whole new position and a whole new salary from a whole new employee. That's not what it is. I am trying to look at what we currently have and see. It would have to be a posted position. It would be, you know, all on the up and up. It would be transparent. But the first step, I wanted to daylight this topic with you all and let you know that, you know, I do need a team. Right now, I'm alone, you know, and that's fine. And I'm doing the job. And I know the naysayers out there are going to say, see, I knew she couldn't do it. I am doing it. And I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm going to do a great job. And I am doing a good job. But I do want to do better. And I'm telling you, you all try to see me. Like, I am literally in meetings from morning till night. I'm not sure when you get your work done. You know, I go home. I just bought myself a new computer setup, my own money, lest anybody worry. I don't work from home, but just so I can work from home because I'm having trouble getting the job done in this town hall with all the everything that goes on as a single person. So that's kind of my spiel. wanted to daylight it, and I'd love to hear. If the board isn't supportive of it, then I won't go any further. But if the board will allow me to kind of explore this and figure out a way to get this done, again, without adding a new position that increases the bottom line of the budget, then I'm hoping you'll maybe give me that latitude to explore this.
All right, thoughts?
I'm wondering if you're not increasing the budget, and this is really an internal reorganization, is what you're saying, and we would appreciate you coming back and saying, this is what I want to do. Is this something that requires a board approval?
Well, if I were to create the director of, yes, because I've been working with Labor Council, and I've been trying to figure out how to achieve this on the up and up, the right way, you know, following all unions and whatnot. So I had hoped that I could maybe, you know, take a current position and add a slash to it, you know, something position / director of operations. That's not the way we can go. It has to be a new position, and it would have to be posted, and it would not be in the union due to the confidentiality and the sort of the management side of things. So in order to do it right, I've been advised by Labor Council to do it as a new position. So, and that's where you do get involved in order to authorize new positions. We did get the sign off from the personnel board already on this, so it's coming to you now. And again, I know this is the first time you're hearing it, so I just wanted to sort of daylight this issue and start this conversation to see, sort of get a temperature read from the board.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, did you not
Just
finish?
one other thing, will this be externally advertised or just
Yeah,
internally posted?
I think we'll post it all out. I mean, I envision, again, I don't have all the answers yet, I envision it being more of an internal, so I don't have a, but I think we just post it. But I would prefer to do it internal, just because that's, I think, the solution. But I would obviously follow the advice of Labor Council on that one.
So what I'm just struggling to understand is, if we're going to advertise it even externally, how does that not become a new head? Because it
Well,
would
right,
make
that's why I
sense
don't
in-
really want to do it outside.
Right. And
Well, then
that
we wouldn't
happens- that
probably
happens.
fill
Like,
it.
I know at my place, there are certain jobs that are only advertised internally, but they're
Mm-hmm.
advertised to everyone. So I think that would be a key part, is it would have to be someone internal in order to not add a head. And then my question would be, that person's job wouldn't have to be backfilled, the role wouldn't have to be backfilled, depending where that comes from. You know, whether, I'm just throwing things out, fire, recreation, council on aging, you know, whoever that may be, that they are still doing that role.
That would be my goal. I would not be able
wouldn't
to
be
pay this
backfilled.
person to be the full-time director of operations. They would still have to do their current role, and then they would have to pick up some, they would be a share, they'd still have to take on, they might have to jettison some of their responsibilities, but not all. It's not enough, it can't be a new standalone position.
Okay, and it wouldn't be a stipend. We did check into that.
We did. It has to be a standalone position. Trust me, if I could have just done this like as an add-on, I would have, but it has to be a newly created position.
I think that for me, that's the biggest thing, is just, I think, understanding the logistics of how it'll work, and that would probably depend on who it is. But as long as there's no new position added, I do think there is a need for it, and I think it's also an area of growth for someone, you know, promotional opportunity for probably someone who maybe is a department head or whatever. So it would just, you know, it would be important that we're able to do it within budget. We're not adding a new position, and we can afford it as is.
And I can commit to that.
Okay.
Seth?
Yeah, thank you. So I would, at a high level, no. Let me first say that the way you described it, Paige, makes sense to me. And as I always do and will continue to do, is I'd like to see the value quantified to the extent you can. I know that at a higher level, when we're talking about strategy, it can be a real challenge to quantify value. But to the extent we can, we just want to understand what it means. And I know this is like early stages, and you're introducing the proposal. Mm-hmm. So over time, as we learn more and we understand more about what this could look like, I'd like us to be involved in that process, understand the value, and be able to communicate that value to the community so that community's on board with where we go with it. So happy to continue to have the conversation and discuss it as we move forward over the next, however long it takes to identify the value and communicate it.
Yeah, and lastly, I think it was a great presentation. I think you have a good grasp of, obviously, what we're looking for. That came out pretty strong. And, yeah, looking forward to seeing what you work out.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
right.
Yeah, all of us are interested
But
in seeing how this goes.
But I think that just as important as that succession
Yes.
portion.
Yeah, I know you don't want to be running the town again.
I do not want to run that. Succession is, I think, a key component. Okay, but unless there's any other, we do have a motion.
So motion to approve the fiscal year '24 and fiscal year '25 managerial non-union pay plan.
But do you want to keep, that's with the director of operations on it, or do you want to?
I had assumed that was with, I mean, Mike, do you have to have this approved to advertise the job? Or can you
Yes.
advertise the job and then come back and do it all at once? Okay, so I think we have to, if we're talking, again, with the caveats that we're not adding a new position, this is done within budget, I'm comfortable with approving it as is.
Yeah, me too.
Second.
All right, any further
So
discussion?
I question, so I'm trying to understand if we're exploring a new role, why would we need to vote it in or approve it right this minute? I don't know that I understand that.
Well, that would work best for me because I could work on solving this problem. But
Yeah.
I think that what I could commit to you all is I could keep you apprised as we go forward. Just creating the role itself doesn't fill it. And so you have it on the books. We have an assistant town manager still on the books. Doesn't mean it gets filled, but at least it's there. And then I could, commit to keeping you apprised as I explore this. Again, I might come back and say, this doesn't work out at all. I can't do it. I can't figure it out. But I can provide metrics, and I can provide, as I figure this out further with counsel and start to get a better sense of who might fill this role, and or I might not have that information yet, but it depends on where we are in time, but I can keep you apprised as we go through it.
Do you think that
Right.
person would sit in their department, let's say if it's an internal, that remains today?
I think they would sit both places.
Okay.
I don't think, it's not, the position would not be standalone in the town manager's office. It would be working in their current role to a degree. It might be lessened slightly. Again, this is all theoretical. But they would give a certain number of hours, I think, per week to the town managers, and they would have a presence in the town. Now, my top choice would obviously be have someone sitting full-time up there with me, but that's not what I'm proposing right now. I'm proposing sort of a light version where we work into it.
So you would need our approval to post the position? Is that-
Yeah, because I don't have a position right now to
So
post.
that's to Seth's point, I think that's
Yep.
right.
Yeah, so I know that so you're saying, I know in the past administration, there's been reorganizations that honestly we found out about later, which was not optimal, right? But this is a different situation page, and if it is, I just want to understand how, because in the past, we've not voted for certain things, situations of this nature, so.
Yeah, I can't speak to what was done in the past, even though I wasn't part of like how that came to be.
No, that was, yeah.
But I have been working closely with counsel to make sure I do it right. So regardless of what happened in the past, this is the path that I'm being advised to follow to ensure that we make sure we cross our Ts, dot our Is, protect the town, provide the resources needed for strategically, but also, move slowly and correctly.
Yeah, I honestly would be more comfortable knowing more about it before, if that's a case where we're actually approving moving forward. I'd rather know more about the proposal. I mean, this was a great start as far as I'm concerned, but I'm a little uncomfortable with moving forward on it without having a little bit more meat on the bones, a little bit more of a concrete understanding of what this looks like.
Well, just to clarify, though, I just want to point out, you are creating the position, but, it is really falls on the town manager. So really, your thing is to create the position. So I'm asking you to do that, and with the commitment that it will not increase the bottom line, it will be posted and follow all labor practices, et cetera, et cetera. So I think those, you can sort of rest assured on those, that it'll follow those guardrails. Beyond that, you all don't tend to get involved in filling a position, qualifications, so that's where I just want to make sure we stay with your role, which is to create a position, as opposed to filling a position.
And I think.
So the Board of Selectmen, select board is responsible for creating new positions, or is it because it's a budget line item? I'm
Well,
missing
you have a
that
right
piece.
to veto. We have a belts and suspenders approach here in Foxborough, it seems. So it's like, normally, like Jamie couldn't believe it, because at first she's like, oh, it just goes to Personnel Board, of course. And then it was like, well, wait, what's this like? So the way it's written here in Foxborough, it's kind of overkill. I don't know, no one knows why you go to both Personnel and Select Board. It's kind of like our Affordable Housing Trust. It goes to Affordable Housing Trust, and then it comes to Select Board, which is a little, not what you see traditionally. But the bottom line is I can't move forward with anything right now without this. So it's like, I mean, I can continue down this path, and I try to get metrics and whatnot, but really what I have right now is sort of my assurances that I will not increase the bottom line, that it will benefit the community in the long run, and I will follow all the rules. And so I
think what we own is we own the approval of the non-managerial pay plan stuff. So because it's needed to be a change on that pay plan, that's where it ends up coming to us. It's not necessarily about creating a new position, but it's the change to the managerial, non-union pay plan is what.
Posting the position just allows you to get the ball rolling. And you could come back to us at a point where you're ready to hire for the authorization.
But we're way before, we got a lot more information before even posting. You got to come back to us with your plan.
Well, yes.
Maybe it would make everyone feel better if you went to town council, because I think you can do this, but it's, again, not, I would want you to check.
I
that it could be
thought
an
so,
internal
Leo.
candidate. Like, if it was an internal candidate versus an external candidate, I don't see how an external candidate would not.
It's not
add
going to be an
ahead.
external candidate.
Okay.
It's not going to, I mean, that solution will not work.
Okay,
They're not in our
that's
head
where-
count, they're not in our
Right,
salary, our
right.
budget, it will not, it has to be someone internal.
Okay. That makes me feel better than saying it would be internal or external.
Yeah. I mean, we might have to post it, but we don't have the appropriation, the funding or whatnot to allow us to fill it externally, so.
Seth, you had one more thing to say?
Yeah, so I am aware of the right to veto, but this feels like something different. So the right to veto is if a position or there's a reorganization and it's sort of after the fact, the select board would veto the change. This is, we're preempting or coming before the actual creation of a updated position, if you want to call it that. So that's where I'm still a little fuzzy on this.
Well, where your authority
approach.
comes in is that
Well, yeah.
non-managerial or non-union managerial pay plan. So simply adding director of operations to that grade is where you're triggered.
And because, Seth, before the positions that were impacted, the Director of Economic Land Use, the Recreation Director, Council on Aging, those were all union positions. Those do not fall to the non-union managerial pay plan. Hence, we didn't have to weigh in on it because they weren't under our purview making a change
To the non-union.
because they're union.
Okay.
And the Personnel Board approved this position.
Yes,
That's another important point.
True.
they did.
Okay.
In fact, they took a very methodical and, I don't know what's the word, educated approach to it. I had originally put it in as grade 12, and just changed the name of assistant town manager to that, and they said, I don't think so. Keep assistant town manager, put it in grade 11, and give, assuming that in the future, if this person came in and we're doing it on a part-time basis, it gives them a room to grow. If the town were ever to go that route, it leaves the 12 open. And I thought that was a really good professional approach, and we took that approach of the Personnel Board.
Was that meeting recorded and televised like usual? So I think with some of the change that has never not been recorded and televised. So I do think that that's important, that when we have these personnel board meetings, that they're recorded, they're televised, so like we can go back and watch them, like Katie, you know, this is actually for Maura, not for you, but like those are the things that you can subscribe to and like get an agenda and know that they're coming out. So I think some of these smaller boards.
I'm not sure they want to be. I don't know if
They
it's up
always
to
were,
them.
they have been.
I don't think they want to be,
Okay.
because it's all personnel related. I mean, I don't know, but right, the preference is to not be on TV just because it's personnel related. I don't know.
That's definitely a change because
Well, it might have been all during COVID, right? That everybody was,
it's been.
I don't know. I wasn't a part of them, so I don't
I
know.
know I've watched them recently.
Well, yeah, it was, but I think that was because I think they always had people zooming in.
Okay.
I'm late to the show. I shouldn't even be talking. I've only been to like
This
3
is,
meetings.
this is there's a big thing proposed on this, so to not, I just think we should, I think all boards should be televised, that's come up, you know, again tonight, but there is some inconsistency, and this one is kind of bounces around. So just, my preference would be going forward, that this one is televised, especially where they're making recommendations to the Board of Selectmen. Obviously, we try to get there, but, you know, stuff happens.
There are draft minutes I could ask the chair that I could share with,
Okay.
if that's helpful.
All right, we had a motion seconded, we had further discussion. Roll call?
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes.
Seth, yes.
Thank you, Seth. All right, good. Annual town meeting warrant.
Yes, so we have a town meeting coming up, if you hadn't heard. And there's a draft warrant. Poor Katie has been working on this one, and Bob Cutler had a big save today. Whew, close call, but Bob came
was it?
through. We had to put the ballot questions under Article 1.
Okay.
And he thought of it, yesterday? And thank goodness, so saved the day with that, so thank you, Bob Cutler. So we do have the warrant articles. I don't know how you want to, I didn't pay attention last year. Did you go through them one by one?
No.
Okay.
But I do think this year is a little bit different, that there's still some ambiguity to me if we're one night or two.
We're not going to
We
know.
won't know that till that night.
We won't know that till
No,
that
we
night.
we sat down with,
Okay.
we sat down with Frank and advisory.
Mike Brown.
And we try to list things in a way that if Frank needed to split to a second day, then MBTA projects and a few others would go to that second day. But we won't know that. That'll be Frank's call Monday night. We also decided to go Tuesday because I guess in the past, if they've gone 2 nights, they've gone 2 consecutive Mondays. But if I remember correctly, Bob won't be around the following Monday, and neither will Claudine, right, his stand-in. So we decided to go Monday, Tuesday.
But I think we need to do a better job. Like, everything that's out there is that town meeting is May 13th. And we all know, and we're talking, that it could go on. It looks like it's going to go 2 nights. I mean, chances are it does. So almost like you have a rain date advertised for, you know, an outdoor event. I think that we should be approaching town meeting as it's the 13th with a possible second night of the 14th. It's just kind of more PR around that versus everything just says May 13th when we know we're likely not to accomplish it that night, and then no one saved the date for the next night, no one's planning accordingly.
Yeah, good point. So maybe add and possibly Tuesday.
And I can say Maura's been working fast and furiously. You'll see some information coming out on that. We're actually, Maura's idea was, and it's going to be tough, 3 hours in here, but we're actually hoping, hosting on May 1st here in the Gala Meeting Room, 3 hours, I think, of drop-in time, so that folks can, if they have any questions, whatever, we'll have the subject matter experts sitting around waiting and hoping that residents actually show up, and if they want to spend time digging into the DPW facility or the community center. So we're going to have, do that. But you're, valid point, we will work on making sure folks know that there's a possible night too.
Possibility.
Yeah, because even
Second
like
night.
us on the board, it's not clear to me, what am I, like, I am pretty anal about my calendar, you guys know that. Like, I gotta like get it, like, if we're saving it, people
Save it.
should save the
Save
date,
it.
yeah.
Save it.
I have it saved in my calendar already, but I don't think that that's how we're communicating, and I do think that we should be.
So it's a possibility of a second night.
likelihood.
Yeah, huh?
High likelihood,
Highly likely.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless things move a lot faster than
And
we
we
thought.
are reading the entire budget with funding sources. Did we get any?
We haven't heard back from
Okay,
Frank yet.
okay.
But he knows our thoughts,
Okay.
ours and Mr. Brown's.
Does
Is
they,
it-
does they, do they, sorry, do they agree?
We all agreed that he was going
AdCom?
to. Yep,
Okay, okay.
yep.
So has this gone through AdCom?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
done?
they're
They
done.
stopped, they didn't
So
even
would
meet
this
last
be
week.
the version that goes to the town meeting? Because, you know, what's not on here that I thought was very helpful is the actual AdCom.
That's a separate document.
Okay,
It'll be handed out.
It's a
It'll be
whole
handled.
second
They're
document.
working
that
on it
AdCom
right now.
prepares. Yep.
okay, all right.
When you get there, there's a bunch of tables with a lot of information.
Yeah, they're doing the write-ups right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
those are helpful.
Seth, yeah, they are very helpful. Seth?
All set, Doc.
Okay, great.
So this is
Thank
the
you.
final, so do we end up, sorry, and this has changed so much, and I can't even tell you how many times I've looked at this. Has the order of this changed at all since the last?
No, it has not.
Okay,
So
okay.
the town council has reviewed for a third time again this morning
Okay.
after Article 1 was updated.
Okay.
We're going to miss Pat.
Is he gonna miss us?
He's not going to miss us.
All right, so
Might be
motion
on
to
Zoom.
approve the 2024 annual town meeting warrant.
Second,
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes.
Mark, yes?
Seth, yes.
And Frank reviewed as well, sorry, I did that after the vote.
I think early on.
We've actually been working really,
Okay.
Yeah.
really closely
Okay,
with
great.
both Frank and Bob. It's been good.
South Street Water Main Project.
Yeah, so what do I have to say about that? We do have Chris on Zoom. So
Oh.
I can explain a little bit about it, but I'll probably masker it and Chris can speak up. But I don't think we need to get in the weeds. The bottom line is we had appropriated some of our ARPA funds. And ARPA is very strict, and Marie has been working tirelessly on the paperwork and getting everything approved. So it's come to light that a couple of the projects we had worked on were either delayed due to Mass DOT approvals, or we learned that didn't necessarily fulfill the requirements of ARPA. So this agenda item and the next one are both associated with appropriating our ARPA funding to two different projects. So I might let Chris chime in now, just because I probably misspoke a little bit, but basically it's a reallocation of funds we had already committed to do, just based on, we need to get this done ASAP, because ARPA and Norfolk County are very anxious to get these projects' money spent. So Chris, do you have anything to add?
Sure, I can jump in quick. So like Paige said, the ARPA funding through the county portion was very specific as to what we could spend it on. So we allocated $1 million to the North Street Water Main project. That project involves going underneath Mass DOT Railroad right away, as well as a dam. So we've kind of hit a delay on that project. As far as getting it permitted goes, it's all designed. We're just working through the permitting process with DOT. So instead of waiting that out and potentially missing the county's deadline, which is actually to have the funding, they want it dedicated, they want it spent by the end of the fiscal year, which is not going to happen. We have with that North Street project, but if we reallocate it to the South Street raw water main project, which is 90% done, we can take that $1 million, actually 959,000, I think is what we have as a balance right now, reallocate it to that South Street water main project and get the reimbursement in through the county. Paperwork's done. We don't lose that money back to the county, which is kind of what we're looking to do with that allocation, is just take it from one water main project and reallocate it over to another one.
What he said.
Yeah, no, that sounded,
right.
Perfect. Any questions from the board?
Nope.
No. Seth?
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great way to, great way to make it work. Do we need it? Do we have a motion? I'm
Yes.
sorry. I don't.
Motion to approve the allocation of the original $1 million in county ARPA funds to the South Street Water Main project.
Second,
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes.
Seth, yes.
All right, while you're there, Chris, how about the PFAS?
Yep. So this one, we had taken $500,000 and dedicated it to the sewer infrastructure over on Walnut Street and the Route 140 project. Paige did such a good job getting grant funding that we no longer need that $500,000 over there. And again, we won't be able to spend it on that sewer piece because we have other funding that we'll utilize over there for that project. So we're looking to take that $500,000 and put it towards our first PFAS treatment plant. So that PFAS plant is out going through conservation and planning board approval right now. It'll go out to bid probably by the end of this month, if not early May. We'll have a contract in hand by the end of the fiscal year. We do have a $14 million SRF loan, state revolving fund loan, that we're putting towards that project. But this $500,000 will just take it off the top of that project. That way we can get the money allocated by the end of the fiscal year, get that documentation to the county, spend it by December, which is their kind of next trigger date, is they have that money spent by the end of December, and have it going towards another infrastructure project that is critical to Foxborough.
Any questions?
Motion to reallocate $500,000 from ARPA county funds to the PFAS treatment plant.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes.
Seth, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
76 Main Street, Uniqueness Certificate.
Yes. So I think you might have recall that Pat Costello mentioned this during our executive sessions. And Pat may or may not be on the call right now, but I could cover this for now. So under the procurement laws of Massachusetts, technically, there's Pat now, but Pat, I'm going to try to massacre this, and then you correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
But under the procurement rules, the town is supposed to do an open procurement process. So, if we knew we were going to do a community center and we wanted to buy land, we'd have to do an open, fair, equitable procurement process. In this instance, the property came up for sale, and it is unique. It is something that, we couldn't have contemplated. We wouldn't have gotten it through an open procurement process. And it is unique enough that the town the town select board is making this determination that this property is so unique that we're going to waive sort of some of the procurement requirements to allow us to proceed this property because it's just right for us. Pat, how'd I do?
You did great. Good evening, members of the board. This is strictly a Uniform Procurement Act process we're going through. Generally speaking, the Uniform Procurement Act requires a town to go through a competitive procurement process, i.e. to request proposals when we want to acquire interest in real property. There is a provision, however, in Section 16 of the Act that says that when a property is unique in either its location or its physical characteristics, the board can waive or reduce the need to comply with the procurement processes by merely making a determination, which is what is before your board tonight, that this particular property is unique, and then we would have to post or file that determination for publication in the Central Register. Once the determination goes on record with the Central Register, the town can, after 30 days elapse, enter into a binding agreement to buy the property. So this is a prerequisite from a procedural perspective to allow us to negotiate final terms of this transaction and then ultimately obtain title to the property.
Great.
So as we mentioned, it's a long and complicated process. Municipal, purchasing real estate, this is one of the steps that we've been aware of the whole time to get us to the next step.
Yes.
Awesome. Any questions from the board?
Nope.
Seth?
That makes sense, Doc. I'm in favor of this.
Okay.
All right, move that the board determine that the real property located at 76 Main Street, Foxborough, owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, be deemed unique for purposes of acquisition in accordance to the provisions of General Law, Chapter 308, Section 16E2.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes?
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes?
Seth, yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
All righty. Town manager's update.
Yes. So back to our favorite subject, town meeting. Just so you all know, last week we did record 3 shows with Foxborough Cable Access, one at the DPW building, one at the police locker room, and one at the 76 Main Street. We did little interviews and we showed sort of the different properties and the subject matter. Mike Weber and his team are working on the edits now, so we can't wait to see. And we mentioned that we're just doing these short little vignettes to hope to get them out there. So we have done that. Maura has been key in setting that up for me and getting it done. We're working with the Foxborough Reporter, trying to get a series of articles or some sort of, and again, maybe even if they could highlight day 2, Jeff Peterson, if you're watching this, day 2 of town meeting. So we're trying to work with all our partners that we have to try to let folks know. We are doing the formal warrant review that we always do with Foxborough Cable Access. That's on April 23rd from 4:30 to 6 here in the Gala meeting room. It's probably going to be a big one. Last time we had quite a few people, and we have a lot of articles, so that'll be interesting. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to do the open house on May 1st to allow residents to stop by and ask any questions of the subject matter experts. And we will be doing more, but those are just our sort of incremental things we're working on now. With respect to the community center, now that we've just done the uniqueness certificate, we'll get that in the central register. We did pay the $10,000 deposit as required, and we are continuing to do our due diligence. I know the team was out last Thursday to do more inspections, and then I just saw an update today. They were out there again today. So the town is doing all their due diligence and investigating every lead to make sure that we have a full understanding of what we're purchasing. The next thing is ARPA. I don't think it.
Call out that it does need a ballot.
Correct.
And it does need town meeting vote, just so that everyone understands that this is, again, what steps are required, but the steps that need to come in order to move this forward.
And to clarify that, it is 3 ballot questions on 3 different projects and 3 different town meeting votes.
Right.
And if, for example, say one of the items or 2 or all of them fail at the ballot, they would not proceed at town meeting. So it's critical that the residents get out to vote on May 6th, and you'll have the 3 questions plus the slate of candidates, but you'll have 3 questions, and then that alone won't do it. Then you have to go to town meeting the following Monday and Tuesday night probably, and vote in the actual article. So you're right, Leah, and it is 3 separate, and they each require 2 votes.
And maybe if Maura can make some kind of visual for the steps, we're done with the offer, we're done with the uniqueness certificate, we have to vote, we have to, just so that everyone really understands how, all the steps.
All the steps, right. That's good feedback. ARPA, I'm not going to mention that. We already talked about that. That's been a heavy push. MBTA communities, the planning board is holding another public hearing on Thursday night. I think they talked to Frank Spillane, the town moderator, and they want to make sure their vote is recommended vote or not vote is good. So they're revisiting that. Milton responded to the Attorney General's complaint. Did I ever send that to you, Leah? You would probably love it. It's techno-nerdy stuff.
Yeah, I know I read an article on it, but I don't even know.
Okay, I'll send you the
stuff on it.
Oh,
Okay.
no, it was the first 20 pages were boring, whatever, but then you get into the meat of it, and they spent some money. I mean, Goodwin Proctor, they had lawyers, and they made quite the case. So now I don't know what it'll do. The state's doubling down still, but reading it, I was like, this is going to be fascinating to watch. No one expects that this answer will be ready by December 31st. In fact, I attended a webinar with the AG's office and with HLC last week, and they said that. They said, if you think that, you're all waiting to see what Milton does, it's not going to be in time. You're going to be out of compliance if you wait till December 31st. So,
Although I just want to add, I don't know if I mentioned this at the last meeting, but the Supreme Court has agreed to take this case up in October.
yeah, but they don't think
They
it'll
are
be done by
fast-tracking
then. Yeah, but they don't think it'll be ready by December 31st.
Well, I don't think it will either, but I think it's significant that the Supreme Court has taken it up,
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah, it'll be all, we're all interested. So Civics Day has been scheduled for May 31st. So the Ahern Middle School and the town will be hosting an 8th grade Civics Day. They're going to use the Foxborough Senior Center as sort of their case project. They'll be doing a town meeting, a mock town meeting, and the state reps will be here and town representatives. They're also going to go over and do like they did last year with the talks by the certain department heads. So we're looking forward to that for May 31st. Human Resources update, the new Human Resources Specialist, who's part-time, non-benefited, Stacy, she started Monday, so she's working 19 hours a week. The Veteran Services Officer, a new one, starts on April 22nd. We currently have open positions for the Assistant Treasurer Collector, that's a big one, and then Director of Land Use and Economic Development, and then a Water Tech, we always need water techs apparently. And then just the last thing is the use of town property permits. We have a girls' high school softball car wash on April 27th from 10 to 2 right here at Town Hall. And then we have the high school lacrosse car wash on May 11th from 10 to 3 here at Town Hall. And I think that's all I have. We did, I should probably update you on one little thing, although I dread to, is we did have a meeting today with Pat Costello and Counsel for Olive and Mint as we prepare for that. So there's some movement over there, and I'll keep you apprised on that. But just so you know, we're working to try to resolve that, and there might be some different scenarios coming up, but we are in talks about that. We have been told that by Pat Costello that a non-renewal never happens. So he's encouraging us. I've pushed back and said, we've come this far. We don't want to go back, without changes being made. They are proposing something that might actually help, so we'll entertain that, because he's kind of warned us that, you might go to the hearing on May 8th and they might just remand it right back to the select board anyway. So we're trying to find a middle ground with a good solution, but we're not going to bring them back just to do Groundhog Day. It would have to be a material change to make it worthwhile. But we did meet with them today, with Pat, their attorney, and them, and our whole team to try to see if we can move the dial rather than just spinning our wheels. So,
Thank you. New business, really, update on boards, committees, discussion, overall review and upcoming reappointments for April 23rd. So give us a little update, Katie, on...
Sure. So we'll just review next meeting your boards and committees that are current right now, and everyone will have their term end date. So we'll just try to make a push that I will be reaching out to everybody, and I'll need a confirmation from that person or the chair that they want to be reappointed. We'll have as many seats open as possible if I don't hear from anybody, and we just want to make sure that we have a good process for this upcoming fiscal year.
And hopefully Maura can advertise what seats that we have, because I do think we should get that out there, so that people understand what positions.
Yeah, any old business? I have nothing.
Just a quick thing, because the audit committee, I'm on the audit committee. Paige, I just want to make sure that you're aware that some old business with the audit committee is the RFP of the audit this year.
I am aware of that.
Okay, good.
And that comes out of my office. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Speaking of RFPs, anything on the town council RFP?
It's, I think next week. It's out.
Okay, so it's out.
It's out. We're
getting
waiting.
questions.
We've had
on-
about
okay.
12 firms or individuals pull the package, so we're hopeful.
Great.
Action item.
Okay. We have a few. Motion to approve the National Grid petition for joint or identical pole on North Street approximately 82 feet north of the center line of the intersection of Chestnut Street and Lawton Lane, pole 1 through 50 on North Street.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes.
Mark, yes.
Seth, yes.
Motion to approve the use of public way for the NAC 5K Superhero Dash on April 28th from 7:45 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Race to start at 12 Payson Road, left on Chestnut, right on Mechanic, right on Railroad, left on Bird, right on Baker, left on Chestnut, back to Payson Road.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes.
Leah, yes.
Mark, yes.
Seth, yes.
All right, motion to approve Joseph Sanders.
Oh,
who's-
well, actually, we have to table that.
okay.
They're not looking for new members, turns
Oh,
out.
okay, okay, never mind, jeez.
One committee you can't have.
I waited in the rain that whole night.
All right, lastly, motion to approve the select board meeting minutes from March 26th, 2024.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Dennis, yes?
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes?
Seth, yes.
All right, and motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Dennis, yes?
Leah, yes?
Mark, yes?
Seth, yes.
Good night, everybody.